This programme is powered by Dunlop Tyres, Spa05.com, Autosportinsurance.com, Syntix and PPG Fitzner. The 2013 season is almost complete for the Supercar Challenge, powered by Dunlop, the GT and Touring Car Championship for gentlemen drivers and semi-pros. During 7 rounds in the Netherlands and Belgium, competitors have battled long and hard for the top step of the podium, not just for race wins, but equally importantly for championship points. Early season mistakes are now proving to be costly. It all comes down to the final round at Assen, where just a few drivers are still up for championship honours. And as we've come to expect from the season finale, there's plenty of excitement and intrigue on the way. We kick off with our fastest classes, GTB, GT and Super GT. Father and son, Jim and Glyn Geddy with the United Autosports McLaren lead the Super GT rankings. Up until mid-season they hadn't won a race. Then 23-year-old Glyn had to do 4 races on his own. He won 3 of them to take a massive championship lead. Second in the Super GT points, Jan Verslijs in the Ural Vika Ferrari 458. Verslijs has had a season of impressive highs, including 4 wins, but also disappointing lows with mechanical failures and 2 trips into the barriers. The error at Spa had minor consequences, but the one at Zolder was a biggie. The car sustained massive damage and the team had a tough job getting it fixed. Jan too had to recover from the body blow that struck him, but he was soon back to score much needed points. At Assen, he'll need to give it his all to be crowned champion. In third spot lies Roger Graals with the Race Art Team Chevrolet Corvette C5R GT1. Graals has scored 2 wins this season and with great consistency lies just a few points behind Verslijs, so the final positions will be determined here at Assen. Well, in the championship table, the Geddys have a decent advantage, but their result seconds based on their recent wins will come into effect. They'll have to remain stationary 30 seconds longer than their championship rivals like Jan Verslijs. Verslijs has to deal with the typical quirkiness of this final round. What worked well all season now seems to be completely wrong for the final 2 encounters. The Ferrari team's been working hard on the setup and decides to go for the harder Dunlop compound. Quite a gamble with the cooler temperatures at Assen. Qualifying does not work out for them. They're not even in the top 3. The United Autosports gambled better. They have claimed pole for both races, 14 thousandths quicker than Bob Herber's Ferrari 458 GT2 in qualifying. Great work by Glyn Geddy. He scores a point for each pole, so before the races have even started, they've extended their lead in the championship.
Yeah, it was good. It was quicker than we thought it was going to be by the others, to be honest. It must suit the GT2s, this track. It's a big aero track, so it's good, but we managed to go out again and get into 37s again, which we needed to do, so it makes the race a bit easier now. We've got 2 more points in the championship.
So the cards have been shuffled now. It's up for everybody to play their hand. The men with the best set of cards, Jim and Glyn Geddy in the McLaren GT3. To make sure they stay out of trouble at the beginning of Saturday's race, Glyn Geddy will start and he'll try and ensure that he stays out front, so there's no chance of a clash with their championship rivals. They need to finish no fewer than 2 places behind Jan Verslijs, otherwise the championship decision will be carried over to Sunday's final encounter. So with Glyn on pole, Bob Herber alongside in the second Ferrari, Henry Zumbrink and then Jan Verslijs, Peter Hoevenaars and then Roger Graals. It's a good start by Bob Herber. He takes the lead around the outside of the cautious Glyn Geddy. There's the Ferrari, Jan Verslijs a little wide. Oh, Henry Zumbrink up the inside. And Verslijs out onto the wet AstroTurf. He's going to lose places. He's not the only one. Roger Graals also out there. He goes down to 8th. Jan Verslijs down to 5th place. That's Ronald Molenaar in front. Looks like a Dodge Viper. Actually, it's a brand new Dutch project having it shake down here at Assen. Verslijs already with a lot of work to do, and it's only lap 1. Battle for the lead then. Bob Herber in the Ferrari ahead of Glyn Geddy in the McLaren. A battle that's been going on for 5 laps now. On board with Geddy through the high-speed back Ramsert corner. Geddy much closer this time. Ferrari onto the brakes a little earlier. And now the tyres on the McLaren are warmed up. Out of the Geert Timmer chicane. Here we go. Almost ran into the back of the Ferrari. He got so much extra traction there. Down the inside he goes into the first turn. And that is the change for the lead. Now he's got to try and build that advantage before the pit stops as Jan Verslijs moves up to 4th. Well, he hands Father Jim a 29-second advantage over Verslijs when he comes in. Fuel into the McLaren. Final words for Dad. Getting ready to head out. 2011 British GT champions, eager to win the title here at Assen. Oh, a little stall. That's not going to help calm his nerves, is it? Well, Glyn had built that half-minute advantage, but Jim, when he gets into the car, makes a mistake immediately, struggling to get round the corners, drops back to 7th place and picks up a warning for crossing the white lines. Well, there's no question Father Jim is stressed. Can they win it?
I think we had 15 points maybe, 25 points maybe. So then we had to finish 2 places behind him. We're not doing that just now, so we'll wait and see.
Well, there's more good news for their rival Jan Verslijs. Roger Grau's Corvette is in from 3rd place for an unplanned extra pit stop, and that helps to create a buffer between Geddy and Verslijs, who needs 2 championship contenders, not just 2 cars, between him and the Scots duo. Well, Roger Grau's looks like he's out of the equation with electronic problems. Jan Verslijs moves up to 3rd with Roger Grau's out of the top half dozen. Barry Mason got by Jim Geddy for 6th place, at least 1 championship regular between the rivals. The race winner, Henry Sumbrink, for the 4th time this season, ahead of Martin Lanting and Bob Herbert, with Jan Verslijs in 3rd. Roger Grau's finished behind Jim Geddy, therefore there is just 1 championship regular between Verslijs and the Geddys. So the 2013 Super GT champions are Jim and Glyn Geddy. With the United Autosports team, they've claimed victory in their first year in the Supercar Challenge powered by Dunlop.
It's an extra special. I think I'd like to thank the team as well. Obviously the team have been brilliant. The car's been absolutely awesome. We've had 1 problem with the car, which wasn't the team's fault. And I think a special thanks, I'd like to mention Sean as well, who coached me, and good one for Sean. So.
An emotional tribute to friend and former British GT rival Sean Edwards. The talented 26-year-old had lost his life just a few days beforehand. In the GT class, fast Belgians Steve van Bellingen and Vard Slijs hold a big championship lead with their JR Motorsport BMW Silhouette. Quite remarkable given their first race win was last time out at Spa, but they've shown consistency and reliability to lead the championship. British duo Craig Wilkins and Aaron Scott have won 3 times this year in their Dodge Viper, but they've suffered bad luck, both technical woes and driver error. Everything will have to go their way in Assen if they're to become GT champions. Vard Slijs and Steve van Bellingen need just 2 points to clinch the title. That means 2 pole positions would tie it up. But it gets very hectic during practice on Friday, with the BMW Silhouette in pieces at JR Motorsports. What on earth has gone wrong?
Ja, het was even spannend. Mijn collega heeft
Well, things got very intense near the end of practice. My colleague went off the track, says Steve van Bellingen. He went out to buy some grass, as we like to say. Got a bit of rear damage to the car. The team have managed to fix it by working all night. I just did qualifying and the car seemed as good as ever.
Well, we just give them as much trouble as we can, but I think, you know, that they have a pretty big advantage for us, so we do everything we can and see what happens there. Thanks a lot.
Well, Craig Wilkins and Aaron Scott did a great job to score pole for race 1, claiming 1 of those points, but the JR Motorsport ran a perfect race. As they headed towards the end, disaster for Aaron Scott and Craig Wilkins. They dropped out before 75% of the race had been completed. So it was a done deal for JR Motorsport. Steve van Bellingen and Vard Slijs finishing the race in GT in 2nd place and comfortably claiming the championship title.
Het is winnen, we zijn kampioen.
We're winners, we're champions, says Steve van Bellingen. Let's see if we can win the overall title as well. It's been a great year for Belgium. First in football, now this. Let's party. Well, you only need 1 ball for soccer, but 2 for motor racing, and Vard Slijs knows all about that. That's got to be my toughest stint ever, he said. I just couldn't get the throttle on at the back of the track. The car was sliding everywhere. I just had to bring the car home safely, and luckily, I did. We made it. Pierre-Etienne Bourdais claiming his 6th GT win of the season, back after that horror crash at Spa. But nothing he could do about the title. The champagne goes to the 2013 GT champions. And in fact, with Aaron Scott and Craig Wilkins retiring before 75% of race distance, they didn't score. Bourdais moves up to 2nd place, a single point in front of the British duo. In the GTB class, it's these two GT3 Cup Porsches that battle for the championship. The blue and white Porsche, Hoyt's leaders Patrick Lamster and Mark Nyens. They've yet to win a race this season. In the other car, Rennie Wynan and Charlie Freins. They have 3 wins this year, but they're not the championship leaders. Despite having better speed on the track, they've often ended up in trouble in the race, both technical and driver related. So reliability and consistency lead raw but erratic pace. Coming to the final round, Wynan and Freins are just 2 points behind their rivals, but they've got 50 success seconds more. Things get easier when the EMG Motorsport team push the blue and white car back into the garage. Engine management problems mean they don't have the speed they need. Both poles go to Wynan and Freins, but they've got their own trouble. The car looks very second-hand.
Ja, zo sta je tweede in het kampioenschap en zo vouw je de hele auto op, lijkt het wel.
Well, we're second in the championship, says Charlie, and now I've almost wrecked the car. Quite a blow. I was pushing hard in qualifying. I got pole for both races, but on one lap I got a wheel on the grass, my mistake, and on the wet grass I lost all control. Didn't hit the tyre wall too hard, just ran along it. It looks worse than it is. The team's trying to get the car fixed for the first race to see if we can still battle for the title. Well, that mistake seems to have evened up the championship balance. Both sets of rivals will have to rely on Porsches that don't have the speed that they should. And Wynans and Freins will be forced to race the team's backup GT3 Cup car, and that means starting from the back of the grid. So it's an on-edge Charlie Freins during the second stint, chasing GTB race leader Marcel van Berlo to the flag. He doesn't get by, but still takes second place in class. Lamster and Nyens stuck in fourth with a gearbox problem.
Het is heel spannend nu.
It's getting very exciting now, says Rennie Wynan. Charlie did an excellent job in his stint, finished in second place. And that's with a spare car, so a really great result. I think we're now 2 points ahead in the championship, if my calculations aren't wrong. So tomorrow the game goes on. It's going to be very close. We have to stay close to Patrick Lamster, and that should be enough to take the championship. It's going to be very exciting. Exciting indeed. The difference is just 1 point advantage for Wynan and Freins, but with pole for Sunday's race, that means a 2-point advantage. The season finale always throws a spanner in the works. Sunday's race, it looks as though the GTB Championship contenders are out after just a few seconds. Is it all over for our rivals, or will they somehow make it through to the end? Join us after the break to find out. This programme is powered by Dunlop Tyres, Spar05.com, Autosportinsurance.com, Syntix and PPG Fitzner. Final day of the Supercar Challenge powered by Dunlop at Assen, and a chance for the fans to get up close and personal with the cars and drivers in Super GT, GT and GTB. In the GTB class, the championship yet to be decided between Belgians Patrick Lamster and Mark Nyens, number 311, and their Porsche rivals, 2 points ahead of them, Rennie Wynan and Charlie Freins in number 302. There's a battle for second in the GT class as well, between Aaron Scott and Craig Wilkins and Pierre-Etienne Bourdais. And in Super GT, Jan Versluis versus Roger Graals versus Henry Sumbrink. Glyn Geddy starts on pole in the McLaren from Bob Herber's Ferrari, Graals in the Corvette and Sumbrink in the Volvo. Jan Versluis is fifth in his Ferrari with Peter Hoevenaars in the Viper alongside him. The new Super GT champions Glyn and Jim Geddy leading the field for the final race of the year. And the battle to be the runner-up in the championship will be keeping all eyes on the Super GT class. Bob Herber made a great start in Saturday's encounter to take the lead at the first corner from the McLaren, but with the championship decided, Glyn Geddy in a little bit more fighting form. Oh, but behind, look at that disaster for Rennie Wynan, 302 in the barriers, and it looks like Marcel van Berlo as well. What happened? With Van Berlo in the Geert Timmer chicane, that's Rennie on the outside there. All clear so far. Oh, there's Peter Versluis coming up behind. Well, his Super GT car is quicker than the Porsches. He's trying to squeeze by on the outside, Van Berlo, and he's coming together. Ooh. And it looks like they've collected the other Porsche as well. They're both heavily into the barriers, and that is not good news. With Verslice, Super GT car, so quicker than these GTB Porsches. As the lights change, he makes a run around the outside. 2 wheels on the grass though, and almost a big accident for him too. And now René Weinen's view, minding his own business, hit from behind. And hard into the barriers. And he knows the championship is slipping away. Oh, that's a disaster. But he gets the car restarted and in his desperation to continue, drives straight into the pit lane, but in the wrong direction. He's got to get the car back to the team to try and stay in the race. We've got to finish behind them, he says. The suspension's damaged, René. We'll get it fixed. We've got 15 minutes. Well, if they get out within 15 minutes, they can complete 75% of the race and score points, and then they might win on tiebreak. But race control will disqualify the car for driving in the wrong direction up pit road, and they are out of the race, despite all René Weinen's protestations. The team know that it is over. Well, Weinen is off to remonstrate at race control, but it'll do him no good. Team manager Edwin Lamertink explains the problems. They say with all the adrenaline, the stress, the chance of being a champion, the urge to win, René came into the pit lane, but I'm afraid that's against all basic regulations, driving in the wrong direction to our pit. So they disqualified him. I beg race control to give us a chance to rejoin the race and do 75% distance to get points, but they were very strict about it. I think we can go home now, and maybe we need some booze to swallow this bitter pill. Well, their only chance now is if Lamster and Nyans drop out before 75% of race distance and fail to score. With the safety car out, getting ready for the restart, Glyn Geddy leading from Bob Herber, then Henry Zumbrink in the Volvo. There is the Corvette of Roger Graals, Jan Verslice right behind, looking to get in front of his rivals and claim the runner-up spot in the championship. Well, Verslice in the Ferrari looking down the inside into Harbot. Good move to get by the Corvette. The Viper right behind Peter Hovenaars having a little look. He gets held up though, and that allows Adi van der Hoek in his Ferrari to go the long way round the outside. Now, has he got the traction? No, looks like the Viper will stay in front. Out of Strubben, pulling gears up the back straight. Looks like he's got a good run off the corner. The Viper could be vulnerable here. He's looking at the inside line. Hovenaars knows it as well. Stays on the grippy part of the surface and he defends that position. Battle for sixth is alive though. Van der Hoek doesn't look like he wants to give up. Gerd Timmer chicane once more. 111. Peter Hovenaars in the Viper with Adi van der Hoek's Ferrari right behind. Van der Hoek with a really good run here. He's going to look down into the first corner at the Harbot. Puts the car on the inside. Viper can't defend. That's the change for sixth position. And race positions in Super GT would stay like this right up to the pit stops. Pit stop for race leader Glyn Geddy, 15 seconds less than Saturday's race of success time, so 40 seconds in total, 10 more than Jan Verslice. Roger Graals was 0, Geddy's dropped back to 5th place after the pit stop. And they're in the battle with the brothers. Jan Verslice in front of us in 6th, Peter Verslice in 7th. Peter in an older 430 GT2 compared to the 458 of Jan Verslice. Peter only an occasional racer in the championship. Running down towards Harbot, behind Jim Geddy. Jan Verslice looks to the inside, the door's open. He goes by the McLaren, and Jim Geddy doesn't get the traction he needs. And that leaves the door open on the inside. Peter Verslice goes through as well. Geddy has gone from 5th to 7th in one corner. Race leader Martin Lanting in the Ferrari. Now he's got Roger Graals and Henry Zumbrink right behind, and this is important for 3rd in the championship. Zumbrink is 3 points in front of Graals, the Corvette driver, and that means that Graals need to get some rivals between himself and that blue Volvo silhouette. 2nd place at the moment for Roger, and that Ferrari started, of course, by Bob Herber, was in 2nd place until the pit stops. Now Martin Lanting has the lead, but if Graals gets his nose inside, Zumbrink is so close that they will probably both go by the Ferrari, and that's not going to help the Corvette driver at all. He might need a little bit of extra excitement to come his way. The Corvette all over the Ferrari and the Volvo holding station. Here we go. Graz and Steckenval goes around the outside. Martin Lanting in second place now, but there is the Volvo right behind our Ferrari. And the very next corner, Henry Zumbrink throws it up the inside, so he's now up to second. Martin Lanting down to third, and Zumbrink protecting his championship position at the moment. Roger Graz needs something. Traffic in front. Is this going to help him? It's Patrick Lamster. Oh, and in fact that holds up the Corvette. And here comes a change for the lead perhaps in Super GT. Henry Zumbrink in a Volvo S60 Silhouette. Around the outside of the Corvette. The two V8 powered monsters. And it's the Volvo that gets in front. Well, that's a disaster for Roger Graz. He's got to get back in front of the blue machine and somehow try and find somebody else to pass Zumbrink as well. Well, Roger Graz cannot afford to give this up. Oh, but he's outbraked himself in Ramshoek. Oh, into the gravel. And here come the barriers. Is he going to avoid them? No. Into the tyre wall. And gets the car fired up straight into the pit lane. But as he comes into the garage, the damaged splitter rips the floor up.
Nee, het mag niet zo zijn.
Well, not much of a championship for me this season, says Roger Graz. Great battle for third in the points. I thought I could force him into making a mistake, but in the end it was me that got it all wrong. Made a mistake going into Ramshoek. That's definitely not a place you want to misjudge your braking.
Dus ik ben met hoge snelheid rechtdoor gegaan. En
shot straight across the gravel at top speed, ended up in the tyre wall. Couldn't get reversed because we had a problem with the paddle shift. So this is the end of it, but we'll be back in 2014, I can guarantee you that. And indeed they will be back as the very first customer team to race the brand new Dodge Viper GT3R. So Henry Zumbrink claims his second race win of the weekend, his fifth victory of the season, more wins than anybody else in Super GT. And knowing technical failures put an end to his championship challenge this year, he's bound to be back stronger than ever next year. But for the moment, he's pretty happy. Well, he said this is what the final race weekend should be all about. Winning both races, unfortunately no championship title, but ending a season like this is a great feeling. Just fantastic. Well, after finishing fourth in Saturday's race, Adi van der Herk now takes third, thanks to Roger Graz not making it to the flag. Martin Lanting and Bob Herber again second, as they were on Saturday. And everybody takes their kids onto the podium. Henry Zumbrink with son Mika. Jan Verslijs finishing in fourth place, and that might compromise second in the championship, but the graphics show that he's still 4 points ahead of Zumbrink in the final reckoning. Zumbrink in the Volvo taking third. Aaron Scott and Craig Wilkins gained revenge for their poor result on Saturday, winning the race in the GT class ahead of Pierre-Etienne Bourdais and Steve Van Bellingen and Vard Slice. Because Van Bellingen had to leave before the end of the race though, their good friend Patricia took his place on the podium. The team stuffed his suit to make it fit. I wonder if Vard Slice still wants Steve back after this change. And in the championship, Scott and Wilkins with that win retake the runner-up spot, and they got the fastest lap to boot. In the GTB division, all Patrick Lemster and Mark Nines had to do was get their Porsche to the flag, but they battled for victory with the Webb brothers BMW. Congratulations, the Belgians are champions, said the sign, and it wasn't too early. They backed off with a broken exhaust, but still made it to the checkered flag to claim the GTB title. It was a roller coaster ride for the duo, as Patrick Lamster explained. He said we had a lot of bad luck. It seemed to be over before it even started this weekend. A lot of stuff happened, but it was the same for our rivals. It's always the same with this final racing weekend. Nothing goes as planned. It's a shame the other guys dropped out at the start. I'd like to have had both cars finish, but maybe if they'd been in the battle, we might not have been champions, so I'm very happy. Victory then for Tom and James Webb. Mark Nines enjoying getting the champagne all over teammate Patrick Lamster. And of course, the cameraman always gets his fair share as well. Well, congratulations to all our champions, with Patrick Lamster and Mark Nines winning the GTB title. Stay with us after the break as we return with the Super Sport, Sport and Super Lights divisions playing out the season finale here at Assen. This programme is powered by Dunlop Tyres, Spa05.com, Autosportinsurance.com, Syntix and PPG Fitzner. This programme is powered by Dunlop Tyres, Spa05.com, Autosportinsurance.com, Syntix and PPG Fitzner. It's the season finale of the Supercar Challenge powered by Dunlop. Before the break, we saw the Super GT, GT and GTB cars in action. Coming up next, Super Sport, Sport and Super Light divisions. In the Super Sport Championship, it's experienced Luc de Kock in the 111 Lotus 211 GT4, who shares the lead of the championship. He's claimed 4 wins this season, but the Lotus's lack of reliability has caught him out at least as many times. His comfortable championship lead is all gone. 19-year-old talent Bas Schouten, driving for JR Motorsport and their BMW 1 Series, has a total of 9 podium finishes, with 3 wins, making him one of the title favourites. After 14 races, it couldn't be closer. He shares the points lead with Luc de Kock. This is the Seat Leon Supercopa of brothers Robin and Ferry Monster. For years they've been battling at the top of the Supersport class. They missed out on last year's championship by just a single point. With 3 wins from their 8 podium finishes, things are looking good for them as well. They're just 2 points behind Luc de Kock and Bas Schouten going into the final races at Assen. But for Jimmy Adriansen's 4th in the Supersport Championship, it's all over before the first race has even started. After qualifying, this is what's left of his Seat Leon Supercopa, and this is how it happened. Hold on to your hats. This is a crash you do not want to be having. On the wet grass, there's no way Jimmy could slow down. He smashed into the guardrail doing 140 kilometres an hour, breaking his back in 3 places. But he survived to tell us his story.
Iedereen weet dat het veel erger had gekund.
Well, everybody knows how the crash turned out. Could have been a lot worse, he said. I'm very grateful to have survived the drama and everything seems to have worked out well. It's a real shame it happened in the first place, but that's part of racing. He said, during my recovery, me and my team hope to work out how we're going to return next year. I'm aware that I need to take it easy in the following weeks and months. Certainly can't be driving a car and definitely not a racing car, but we're focusing on recovering as quickly as possible to try and get back on track as soon as possible, and we definitely hope to be back in 2014. Well, that's definitely the spirit. Get well soon, Jimmy. We'll see you next year, attacking as hard as ever, hopefully. After a 1-hour interruption, qualifying recommenced. Bas Schouten taking no prisoners. Only gold would be good enough for him, just like the new livery on his car. He claimed one of the 2 pole positions for the weekend to take the lead of the championship by gaining that vital point. But it's his teammate for the weekend, Mark van der Aar, who'll start the first race. What are Bas's expectations? What's it going to be? Well, I'm not going to take any chances predicting anything. I hope it'll be clean battling. Nobody will get in the way of the championship contenders. That's it. Well, we'll see how that goes. It's not going to be an easy race. His competition is very close on the grid. Robin Monster doing Saturday's race on his own. 3rd on the grid, Luc de Kock in 4th spot. Koen Bokaerts will do the opening stint in the BMW M3 GTR from pole position. Bokaerts also eager to show what he's got after dropping out of the previous 2 races with technical maladies. So it's Bokaerts on pole as we ride with Robin Monster in the Seat Leon, Mark van der Aar on the left-hand side of the grid, Luc de Kock behind him. Good start from the Seat. Got to avoid dramas. Look at that. That's the Lotus. Luc de Kock goes wide on the exit of the first corner. Looking back, that's Mark van der Aar. The gold car loops round into a spin. He's up on the bank. Oh, that could be a major disaster. Again, the battle for the lead in front. Koen Bokaerts. And we're on board now with Luc de Kock in the Lotus 211. Trying to find a way round. Going outside, inside, and he's lost it as well on cold tyres. Oh, is everybody going to avoid him? They're swerving left and right. Oh, contact! That was the orange Lotus of Erwin van Dijk, a newcomer. Oh, he's trying to rejoin, but how badly damaged is the car? This is what it looks like from in the middle of the pack with Dennis de Borst. The Lotus has already spun in front of us. Everybody's going left and right, but as you can see, hard to tell what's going on. They're lucky not more cars hit him. And de Borst manages to find terra firma and he rejoins. Well, Bas Schouten in tears knows his championship is almost certainly over unless something bizarre happens to the Monster brothers.
Ik stuur in, ik zie Mons vrij snel op me afkomen, dus ik wil hem iets meer naar buiten laten lopen.
Mark van der Aar says, I turned into the first corner, Monsters come storming up, I left a bit of room on the right so we didn't collide. Had massive oversteer though on the corner, on the exit. I don't know what happened exactly, I don't know if I got a small tap. Very hard to tell. To be honest, I wasn't paying attention to what was going on behind me. But definitely it's not what we had in mind. Terrible for Bas, last thing I wanted to happen. This is absolutely worst case scenario. Well, Luc de Kock continued in the race dead last. Damaged rear wing from the initial hit, making the car nearly undrivable, but he managed to hold on until the pit stop window was open and came in around 25 minutes into the race. Team removing the rear wing, and that's going to wreck the balance of the car. Downforce will be gone at the back. It'll be an absolute nightmare to drive, but he's got to try and complete at least 75% race distance. But it's all too much in the end. A disappointed Luc de Kock is forced to retire. There will be no points. Car is completely uncontrollable.
Die Lotus Exige heeft me...
Lotus Exige didn't stand a chance in avoiding me. Smashed into my suspension. The damaged rear wing, well, that was unfortunate, but I could do without it. But the damaged suspension made the car uncontrollable. Without that, maybe I could have made my way through the field to score some points, but there you go. So with two championship contenders out, there was just one man left standing, Robin Monster. So was he taking it easy and going for the points finish? No, like the racer, here he is. He challenged Koen Bokaerts for the lead. Bokaerts in the BMW blocked strenuously. Eventually, Robin Monster managed to get by and showed his displeasure with Bokaerts fooling around at the beginning of the race. Well, with guest driver Martin Webb taking first place after the pit stops, Robin Monster kept his head cool, finishing in second position. It was an insane race, he said. Everything was just perfect. The car's handling was absolutely amazing. From the start, that was the right solution to the straight line speed of the BMWs. I just had to keep an eye on the others, but they eliminated themselves. Mark van der Aar spun, and Luc de Kock made a mistake pushing too hard at the hairpin. So all I had to do was to finish. We made a great step forward for the last race of the weekend. Because Martin Webb's a guest driver, he scores no points for his win. A massive 20 points go to Robin and Ferry Monster for the championship, plus one for the fastest lap. That's how to set up a race weekend. 2012 champions Peter van Zoelen and Koen Bokaerts finally back on the podium after having so much trouble at the previous round at Spa. Luc de Kock and Bas Schouten still tied on the championship points, but they're now down to second place. The Monsters lead by 19, with only 21 available for Sunday's race. In the sport division, the Lotus Exige of Art Bosman has been dominant for most of the season. He started in the super sport class with this car, decided that sport class was more his thing, and he's been very successful too, with 7 wins this season. His second championship is almost tied up unless bad luck strikes again, as it did at Zandvoort. But with a 37-point lead, he almost just needs to finish Saturday's race to tie it up. And so he does. He wins it in style. The Van der Kooi Lotus Racing Team gave him a perfect car for the weekend, and Art Bosman celebrates win number 8 and the Sports Champion title for 2013. Just great, he said. This is how you want to become a champion, with a win. I'm really happy it turned out to be a perfect year. I retired 3 times and yet I'm still champion. Can't argue. Well, the new champion in the sport division is raising the bar for next year. He plans to race in a Praga R1, and that will be a completely different league for him. Second place for Moritz and Wesley Carranza. Rob Neiman third. He needs to defend his second place in the sport championship against the Renault Clio of Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein. But with a lead of 18 points, that should just be a matter of reliability and finishing on Sunday. So to the last race of the season, Robin and Ferry Monster leading by 18 points. Is it a luxury or a big weight on their shoulders? We've seen what stress can do in the first race. Bas Schouten will want to recover from teammate Mark van der Aar's mistake and give it his all. Same story too for Luc de Kock with the Lotus 211 GT4. It's all or nothing, and that might make the Monster brothers a little bit nervous. They're going to spend a lot of time looking around them. The championship contenders are the top 3 on the grid, with Schouten, Luc de Kock on the front row, Robin Monster in third place, with Philip Bonnell's BMW 3 Series alongside. Lights go off and away we go. Ferry Monster chasing Bascouten from pole. That's the 5th place starter Peter van Solen. But it's going to be Luc de Kock from the outside of the front row that takes the lead in the Lotus. Schouten in 2nd place. Philip Bonnell 3rd in the yellow and black BMW there ahead of Ferry Monster. We saw Schouten having a little lunge there in the first corner. At least he survived longer than Mark van der Aar. This is where it all went wrong in race 1 for the Lotus. He's got safely through there. Oh no, but runs wide in Strubben, and there's a change of lead immediately. Luc de Kock down to 2nd. Poleman Bascouten is back in front. Well, in front for the first time in this race as they come down to Ruskenhoek. 4th place, Ferry Monster. And where's the sport leader? There it is, the red and white Lotus. So our bossman leads Eric van der Munkhoff, the Carranza brothers and Rob Neiman. While Ferry Monster being a little cautious at the start, and understandably so. They only need a few points to take the championship, where Schouten and Luc de Kock need to give it everything. 3rd place still for Philip Bonnell. Ferry Monster battling with Peter van Solen, and right behind them, Ronald van Loon, all turned around by Robert Vandenberg. Oh, and I think Martin Webb clipped him there too. So race leader then is Bascouten from Luc de Kock. 3rd place battle now is Ferry Monster versus Peter van Solen. They've got ahead of Philip Bonnell. And of course this was the lead battle in the first part of race 1. Robin Monster versus Koen Boekhart in that BMW. And Ferry Monster can't afford to take too many chances. The BMW gets alongside and he really needed to let him go there. Now this could be a nervous race for the Monster brothers. They only need those few points and it could all go so horribly wrong, as we saw in Saturday's encounter. Lead trio, Schouten, de Kock, and now Van Solen is right with them. On board now with the Lotus of Luc de Kock. Both these lead cars, of course, repaired after hefty incidents on Saturday for this final race encounter, as the Lotus drifts wide, the BMW up the inside at 3.2 litre 3 Series GTR, looking very strong here. Peter van Solen up to 2nd, and now he takes the lead away from Bascouten. It's the last thing these championship hopefuls needed. Oh, and Schouten in problems here. On the inside, Luc de Kock is going to retake 2nd place now, and Schouten has gone from 1st to 3rd in 1/2 of a lap. Well, his teammate Mark van der Aar, watching the timing screens, knows he's got work to do after their compulsory pit stop. Well, everyone has to stop between the 25th and 35th minute of the 1-hour race. Mark van der Aar is going to take over the 3rd place BMW, but Bascouten hasn't been his usual ebullient self. And saying, oh, I've given up, no hope at all, he says. Well, he's clearly pretty disconsolate. So Mark van der Aar heads out, hoping maybe for something bizarre and the others to make big mistakes. Well, with their result seconds, they drop down to 6th position. 30 seconds for them. The Monsters 25, Boekhart and Van Solen 5 seconds, Luc de Kock 0. After pit stops then, Van Solen and Boekhart taking the lead. They dropped out the last 2 races in Spa, so they need that. Luc de Kock in 2nd. Battle for 3rd, Ruud Ollie's BMW and Robin Monster's Seat Leon. Robin already passing the 75% mark of the race, and that means they've got the points they need for the championship. But can he get on the podium? It's a balance between wanting that and taking the championship. Van Solen and Boekhart win race number 4 of their season. But what about Robin Monster? Does he lunge for the podium? He does not. This time he is on the side of caution, taking a comfortable 4th place, enough to win the championship in the final race at Assen. Well, the brothers are finally champions after missing out by 1 point in 2012.
Ja, super.
Super, absolutely fantastic car game, perfect, says Robin. All credits to the team, we just finished the job. Well, Mark van der Aar was 3.7 seconds behind Jonas de Kimper and Vincent van Pemmel, a disappointing 6th place for them, costly for the championship too. So on the podium, the Monster brothers break loose with the champagne, treating everybody to an early shower. Luc de Kock takes second in the championship. Buskhouten can peel off the gold livery. It's bronze for him, but it is the championship title for Robin and Ferry Monster. Battle for second in the sport class race between the BMW 1 Series of Wesley and Moritz Carranza and Eric van den Munkhoff's Ford Focus Silhouette. Art Bosman out front in the Lotus Exige, and de Munkhoff with mechanical problems. Car not sounding at all good. Oh my goodness, something has sheared off, massive vibrations. He gets onto the wet grass to get out of the way, but it's very wet and he's into the tyre wall, adding insult to injury. Well, Evan van Dijk's orange Lotus that was collected in the accident in race 1 moves up to second after the pit stops. Dennis de Boers, Martin de Klein finishing third in their Renault Clio. Art Bosman claiming win number 8 of the season despite 55 result seconds. Well, 6th place, not the best result for Rob Neiman, but it's just enough for him to defend second place in the championship. He finishes as the series runner-up. Well, newcomer Evan van Dijk and Cert Racing very happy with their podium finish. Art Bosman, with a massive points haul from 2013, claims the Sport Championship from Rob Neiman, with Dennis de Boers and Martin de Klein in third spot. One more championship to be decided, the Superlights division. After the break, the final round at Assen for the fast and nimble sports prototypes. This programme is powered by Dunlop Tyres, Spa05.com, Autosportinsurance.com, Syntix and PPG Fitzner. It's the final race weekend for the Supercar Challenge powered by Dunlop and the big finale for the Superlights division, the fast and nimble sports prototypes. In their inaugural season, they've thrilled the crowds at tracks like Spa-Francorchamps, Zolder and Zandvoort, and now they head to the finale at the TT Circuit in Assen. Well, Prague is introducing their latest model, the turbocharged R1T. Factory driver Denny van Dongen setting pole position for both races, ahead of Martin Short's Radical SR8 in second, aiming to win the first SR8 championship title. His biggest rival is Henk Thijs in number 750, a brand new SR8, and his former car now driven by veteran Pim van Riet, the 760. In the Radical SR3 class, championship contender Co Koppian starts from pole position, and in the CN class, contenders David Huttoft and Jurgen van Hover's Norma are on pole. Well, in the Praga R1 class, Danny van Dongen is already champion. He'll lead the field round in the Praga R1T turbo car, with Martin Short alongside him, Henk Thijs and Pim van Riet's SR8s, making it now 3 of those V8 engine radicals on the grid. Well, Short has a comfortable championship lead and starts to pull in front of the turbo car of Danny van Dongen. Van Dongen struggling, it seems, to get up to speed at the rolling start. Van Riet goes around the outside, wet on the AstroTurf. Henk Thijs needs to take care there. He's in 4th place. Van Dongen recovers from his tardy getaway. Now let's see what the pole position Praga can produce. 5th overall, Co Koppian, and then it's Vibo Rademacher who's got in front of the Norma. And behind Rob Campos, it's Robert de Graaf and Barry van Elk battling for the lead in the Praga class in their R1s. Of course, the turbo car of Denny van Dongen doesn't count in that class in this race. So Martin Short leads from Denny van Dongen. Pim van Riet in front of us as we ride in 4th place with Henk Thijs. Henk in a brand new Radical SR8 chasing his old car. Well, veteran Pim van Riet knows the track well, so this is going to be hard work for Henk Thijs. Into Strubber, Van Riet gets in a little hot and drifts out wide. Henk Thijs up into 3rd place, and later on Pim van Riet would drop out with mechanical problems. Race leader Martin Short moving by back markers as he builds his lead to compensate for a large number of result seconds. Still though heading towards his first SR8 title in the inaugural year of the Superlights class. Henk Thijs getting by Denny van Dongen there for P2 at Ruskenhoek. Praga R1 Turbo released to compete with a faster SR8s. It worked well in qualifying. They dropped out of Saturday's race with overheating problems around the exhaust, messed up the sensors, and it's the same story it seems in Sunday's race. Van Dongen in for an unplanned pit stop. But it looks as though the team from Slovakia aren't going to be able to fix this one on the spot, and their initial foray is over for the moment.
This car is on development, and we decide to come here because there was many possibility to drive. It's pity that we have no these problems on the free practice, but we have right now. But I think it's only small issues which we have to do, and I think for next season car will be ready.
By the time Henk Tay stops between minute 25 and 35 of the race, Martin Schuldt already has a massive margin. All that he and his team can hope for now is that Schuldt makes a mistake or something happens to his car. Otherwise, it's out of their hands. Well, the teams refuel. Henk Tay's rubbing the sweat out of his eyes and continuing. But Schuldt makes no mistakes on the way to his 8th victory of the season, his 6th in a row, and it's more than enough to take the 2013 SR8 title.
It's great feeling, and I hope we can come back next year with much bigger grids. I think everyone can see that these cars are phenomenal value for money, and we're the fastest cars here this weekend by 2 or 3 seconds a lap. And you don't have to spend £1 million a year to race one of these. Significantly less, a small fraction. So come racing next year, it's good.
Well, the championship rivals have proved that it only takes 2 to make a motor race, but a few more SR8s would certainly add plenty of fun to the grid. In the SR3 class, a great start for Vibo Rademacher saw him chasing race leader Kokopian, but it soon ended up in a fight with the Praga R1s, colliding with Robert de Graaf and failing to finish. Teammate Rick van Geffen took 3rd position. Rob Campers looking very quick again, couldn't close the gap to Kokopian though. He took 2nd spot as Kopian won his 7th race of the season, his 5th in a row, and 3rd place overall in the race. The first SR3 class champion, Kokopian.
Beetje saaie race, ik zag bijna niemand. Het zat allemaal.
Well, it wasn't the most exciting race. He said I was miles ahead of the others. They were all a long way behind me for an hour, and that's what you need. So that was good, but didn't have any problems. Didn't have to push too hard, save the tyres, save the car, and that paid off in the end. That's how you do it. I'm very happy. Well, this is how close the battle was between Rademacher's SR3 and the Pragas. The eventual incident was out of sight of the cameras, but it shows how close the battle got. Barry Van Elk almost on the grass. Well, Robert de Graaf took his 2nd win of the weekend, his 4th of the season from Nelson van der Poel and Barry Van Elk, their 2nd runner-up spot in the weekend. Vincent Lesage, Diego Dues in 3rd. In the CN class, Belgians Jurgen van Hove and David Hurtoff claimed their 6th race win and the championship, showing off the speed and reliability of their Norma M20F. And if you wonder what CN means, it stands for Categoria Nazionale, the class being Italian in origin.
Ja, Albel was the mooiste seizoen.
Well, all in all, a great season, said David. Been very consistent throughout all the races. Norma Benelux brought us to all the races. The whole team did their best to get great results. And the results show an interesting intermingling of the classes. The SR8s battling with the R1 Turbo, the SR3s with the Praga R1s and the Norma. So there's plenty of excitement to come still from Superlights in 2014. And that's it then for the 2013 Supercar Challenge. 2014 is already open for entries. The Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli will head to Spa, to Brands Hatch, the Nürburgring, Zandvoort, Assen and Zolder. For more information, check out supercarchallenge.nl. This program is powered by Dunlop Tyres, Spa05.com, Autosportinsurance.com, Syntix and PPG Fitzner.